Hey guys, welcome back to another Mask Talk session. Incredible day today. I'm in the presence of mask royalty. The mask man, the iconic Ed Cubberly.
Thank you. Pleasure meeting you, Andy.
Pleasure meeting you, sir,
Thank you
finally. Holy crap, am I excited about today. Look at all these masks that Mr. Cubberly has in the back. Ed, legendary mask maker. And we're here today, Ed, because we're picking up a very special piece from you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we are.
But before we get to that, I gotta ask you a few questions.
Sure.
You're a legend. You're a iconic name in mask making and goalie mask history. How did you even start in this field?
Well, it goes back to 1975. Yes, I'm old. I had gone up to see Ernie Higgins in Boston. I had no knowledge of how to make goalie masks whatsoever. No clue that fiberglass was even a woven fabric that you impregnate with resin. I thought it was just something that you heated up, conformed over a mold, let it harden up.
Higgins, he was what, in Toronto?
Higgins was in Boston.
In Boston, okay.
Actually, Norwood, Massachusetts.
Okay.
So I had gone up there. I had Ernie take a mold of my face for $35. I didn't have enough money for him to go ahead and make the entire mask, but I had the mold of my face. And I just more or less went up there on a spine mission.
So you were a goalie at the time?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Yes, retired goalie.
Right.
Yeah, and then from there, at the time, there was long before Google, long before internet. There were no resources, so I tell people it was 40 years of trial and error, learning how to make masks.
So 75, but the modern goalie mask didn't really come into play until the early 90s that we see it in the NHL.
Yes.
Between 75 to the early 90s, you were testing things out. You were doing vintage mask or...
A lot of mistakes.
Yeah. Perfecting the craft and...
Perfecting the craft. You get to a point where you've just made just about every mistake that can be made. Finally, you reach a point where, okay, I'm happy with this. But myself, I'm very meticulous in what I do.
I see that by the display that you have here.
Thank you.
Perfect red carpet. Everything is always spotless.
I'm a perfectionist, and I've gotten as far as 3/4 of the way through making an entire mask. And if I wasn't happy with it, I would just toss it and start over again. Because my whole theory is, how can a customer or a client be happy with a mask if I'm not happy with it?
And especially you got that C on the side. That's your name on the mask.
The C stands for my name, but it also is a vent hole, keeps the mask open for hearing. It's unique. It was my way of getting around the having to pay the NHL for putting my name on the mask. And it's anatomically correct.
It is an ear.
So, at least on one side. I
was talking to one of our common friends, Billy. Yes. And then he was telling me that story and he was laughing about it. He's like, no, Ed told him it was an ear. And I believe him. It's an ear, but it's also Cubberly. Right. So 2 in 1.
So it's quite recognizable. And a lot of guys will say, oh yeah, you're the guy that makes the C mask.
Right.
Yes. Let's
jump into it. You've really become very, very famous because you created the Mike Richter mask. And when we think Cubberly, we think Richter, Times Square, Big Apple, New York Rangers, the biggest scene out there. How did you and Mike Richter come together? How did that partnership come together?
Well, the funny thing is, Mike had worn my mask in practice for about 1.5 years. And finally...
How did you know Mike back then? He was just a rookie kid, I'm guessing?
He's a local guy. He's originally from Abington, Pennsylvania, which is probably 45 minutes from here. But I had gone to meet him in Rye Playlands where they practiced at the time. Okay. So he was wearing my mask for about 1.5 years in practices.
And before that, he was wearing the combo, like the Cooper mask or whatever,
He had been going on and off between a Cooper combo, an HM30 mask, and a mask that Greg Harrison had made him.
Oh, really?
So it was in August of 1990, thereabouts. He was playing a scrimmage game in preparation for the training camp, which was going to start in September. So he's out on the ice with a number of the New York Rangers, and everybody got off the ice, and it was just Mike Richter and Bernie Nichols left on the ice.
Wow.
So Bernie had about 50 pucks lined up at the blue line.
Yeah.
Richter gets into the net, and he takes his gloves and his stick, and he throws them in the corner. And he gets down in a crouch and said, okay, Bernie, let him rip. So Bernie Nichols is thinking that Mike wants to work on his legs. So he's firing shots at Richter low into the corners. Richter says, no, aim for my head.
What?
I said, oh, God, here we go. So Bernie Nichols starts rifling shots off of Richter's face. And whatever was going wide, he would duck into them like a soccer goalie.
What was he wearing on his head?
My mask.
Oh, he was testing you.
He was testing my mask. He came off the ice. I said, Mike, you're a friggin' nut. He said, I got to know. And that's how he tested my mask.
That's crazy.
Yeah, seriously.
This guy was insane.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say that if Richter stayed with the Cubberly mask, he wouldn't have that career-ending injury. It's hard to tell, but your mask, they're tough. They're proven.
Mike wore my mask for 8 seasons and never had a scratch on him. And then, for whatever reason, decided to switch.
Sponsorship.
You know, goalies get tired. Some of the companies pay them to wear their equipment.
Yeah.
I never paid these guys a dime. Fortunately for me, they came to me because of the quality of the mask and the craftsmanship.
So back early 90s, you had done some vintage style masks, but when did you do the first like iconic cat eye grill combo with the fiberglass? When did that start coming about? Rob
Starber with the New Haven Nighthawks was the first pro to wear my mask. The first NHL guy was Frank Pietrangelo.
Right.
With the Hartford Whalers.
Which year was that?
That was in the early 90s.
Okay.
Yeah. And then from there, it just kind of snowballed. The next guy was Mark Fitzpatrick with the Kings, and then it just went on from there.
So you were one of the first innovators that created the fiberglass mask with the fitting cat eye grill. You were part of that first wave of creators.
Well, right? Greg Harrison is the inventor. Him,
Mr. Dryden, right?
With Dave Dryden.
Dave Dryden, yeah.
Came up with the cage combination mask.
Mm-hmm. And that was what? So, end of 80s, I'm guessing?
Yes.
And then we had, in Quebec, we had the super iconic Lefebvre.
Mm-hmm.
Lefebvre was doing that for the Quebec goalies. Harrison was probably doing that for the Ontarian goalies. And then you had the All-American Mike Richter. So you guys, you three, to me, are the most iconic, groundbreaking mask creators out there. So just to have a talk with you like right now, I'm so blessed. We're so blessed just to hear all these stories.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you.
And we even get to pick up something extra special today. Show 'em, Ed. Look at that, ladies and gentlemen. A game-worn Mike Richter 1996 season Ed Cubberly crafted NHL-worn, World Cup-worn Mike Richter mask. Honestly, Ed, like, even the phone is celebrating. Fuck yeah, guys. Coming from outside of the New York, New Jersey area. Oh, it knew. Coming from outside, like a little kid in Montreal, I just I just can't I can't put a bigger stage than the New York Rangers and the Madison Square Garden than a Cubberly Richter. There's just something extra special about Manhattan. I know you're a Jersey guy, but you know that Manhattan is a way bigger stage than what the Devils are, right?
Yes.
So for us to actually be in the presence of this mask today, I'm not even kidding, guys. I'm having shivers in the back of my neck right now. Like, I'm happy as can be, and just the fact that I'm holding this piece of history in my hands, it's incredible. We're gonna do a bunch of zooms on the mask for everybody to see, but this is history right here, man. And I can't believe you even would let us acquire a mask like this. It just means so much to me, Ed.
Well, I appreciate you helping with finding a buyer. But, you know, the thing with the paint job here, my whole thinking back then was to design a paint job that would be visible from up in the stands.
Yeah.
I mean, the paint jobs of today are fantastic, but a lot of them, you have to physically hold it in your hand or be very close to really see what's going on. I always like the bigger, bolder designs that could be seen from up in the stands.
I was just going to get into that.
And that was the premise behind this.
We met with Mike last week, and he talked about how you had the artistic vision of putting that Statue of Liberty here. And if you ask me, one of the most, if not the most iconic goalie mask artwork ever created in the whole NHL history. How go walk us through how you had the vision You like the big picture, but how did you just put this mask together?
Well, the whole thing is obviously Statue of Liberty is in New York, and I wanted something to symbolize New York on a whole, to incorporate that with the Rangers name and the logo. And I had come up with that idea, and then I had a fellow named John Fioravante do the sketch work from my idea.
So you kind of draw it out, and he puts his artistic talent to the work and get it proper.
Yes, he had done a sketch, and I had approved it. And
Mike, he was saying as soon as he saw that sketch, he was like, "Hell yeah, yes!" He kept that.
It was a go from day one.
And I told Mike, yes, you would have been a great goalie with your combo mask. You would have the same stats, but you wouldn't have had the same impact visually, like just iconic impact that is etched in all of our memories. You really helped create that brand identity of Mike Richter, New York Rangers.
He is known for that mask,
right? And you created something else that's super special too. Look at that, guys. In the back there. Did you know that Ed created the Mad Dog for Cujo? Holy crap. The Mad Dog for Cujo, the original one. Tell us a story about how he used to wear the blues one and then you revamped it.
Well, this is my own mask that I used to wear back in the day when I was playing. And I had met Curtis Joseph, and I was about to cast him and Guy Hebert for their head molds. And I said to Curtis Joseph, I said, "Do you have any ideas on what you want on the mask? Do you have any nicknames, any hobbies?" He said, "Well, the guys call me Cujo for my name, Curtis Joseph." I said, well, how about this? I said, how about we come up with this snarling mad dog ripping out of the top of the mask with claws coming down the side, and basically I fashioned that idea and that design after my own mask.
So you were the Mad Dog first. You're the real Mad Dog. And then he's the second Mad Dog.
I guess so.
Man, incredible. The Mike Richter mask, the artwork, the Cujo artwork, all coming from this artistic brain right here. I'm in the presence of royalty. We are not worthy. We are not worthy.
I think you are.
I know you put your pads on, one pad at a time, like everybody else.
Right.
But you're the only one in this room that created the Mike Richter mask and the Curtis Joseph mask. So we're just forever grateful for you. We're such geeks and dorks of goalie mask art, and you are such a...
Hold that thought.
This guy, man. He never fails to mention that he created one of the most iconic masks in Hollywood history, too. My wife is scared in the back there. Do you know who this is? Silent of the Lamb, Hannibal Lecter, the cannibal himself.
And this, the whole idea for the mask took me all of 3 minutes to come up with. Basically, all it is the lower third of an old-time vintage goalie mask.
Oh.
And the producers had gone into Jerry Cosby Sporting Goods in New York. If you remember, in Silence of the Lambs, there's a scene where he's talking to the psychiatrist, and Anthony Hopkins' face he's got the cage on his face, his nose is mushed down. All that was an upside-down cage from a goalie mask that they had taken the paint off. And they said, we need somebody we need someone to make us a face mask. So they had my business card.
Jeez.
They said, here, call this guy. So I got a call from the prop department, and I said, well, tell me a little bit about the scene. They said, well, he's a schizophrenic, and he goes around biting people. I said, okay.
Hey, sounds like my kid.
So you want me to make you a muzzle? So what I did was I took a photo of an old-time vintage mask that I had made, and I just sketched on it with a Sharpie like this, and I said, okay, this would be my idea for the design. And I created the mask and sent it to them.
That's the movie poster as well.
Yes.
With the butterfly.
And this was one of probably 12 or 13 different types of masks that Anthony Hopkins had worn or tried it on for the movie. Everything from beekeepers' helmets to fencing masks, all sorts of things. But ultimately, this was the one they decided to go with.
Is this the original one?
This is not the original. This is a replica I made from the original mold.
Gotcha.
So that's the size of his face.
The history that comes out of this room, incredible. And so we're gonna take the camera. We're gonna zoom in each one of these masks so that you guys can enjoy them. Ed's gonna walk us through this collection. It's incredible. All right, Ed.
Okay. First off, we have Rick Tabaracci's mask that he had worn in. That's one of his practice masks there. Next, we have Rob Stauber from the New Haven Nighthawks. He was the first pro to give me a shot.
How do you get these masks back? They send it back to you for revamp, or some give it back?
A lot of times I would trade, just knowing that the mask would have potential value. This was a mask I had made for Don Beaupre.
Don Beaupre, super.
He wore my mask on the Capitals, and then decided to switch off when he went to Ottawa.
This is Senators, right?
This is Mike Buzak with the Worcester Ice Cats. That was my own mask.
Yeah.
This one without the cage here is one I had made for Jason Mazzotti with Calgary.
Okay.
This is one of my own custom face masks for myself.
A rare Cubberly vintage mask there.
This one here, this is the first mask I ever made.
Okay.
You can see what a piece of garbage it looks like, and I never finished it.
It resembles the Higgins shape.
But extremely crude.
So that's how you started?
Yeah.
What year is this one?
1975.
Oh, wow.
This was another face mask of my own. The devil's motif.
Are these casted to your face?
Yes. Let me... There you go.
I mean, I see masks all day, and this is still freaky. Very, very intimidating look in the 70s. Were you friends with Harrison at all?
I know Greg, yes.
Yeah? So, like, who between you guys created these triangular air vents? And like
that was Greg.
That was Greg?
Yes, that was his trademark. This is one of Harrison's masks.
Is that a Harrison?
It is.
Okay.
This is an early Harrison.
Very cool. It looks like the Dave Dryden mask a little bit, huh?
Yes.
And who used to make these cat eye grills?
Most of those were made by
was it
Tony Calabro from
it was
Otney.
Tony. Yeah.
Yes.
So
yes.
Tony's been around since forever too.
Quite a while. These are some original Higgins masks. Here.
So
this one.
Because we work with his son now, Matt.
Oh, okay, yeah. This one, this is also a Higgins. That's Gary Bromley's mask.
Oh, wow. This is his game worn.
Yes.
Super cool.
Up on the top there, the North Stars, that was another one I had made to simulate Gilles Malache.
Okay. And you see in the 70s, every goalie had a very specific shape.
Yes.
And in the 90s, it was
well, they're all custom made for the face.
To their face, yeah.
Face mold is required for everything.
Yeah. When did you stop doing the face molds?
I stopped making masks for the pros in 2000 because at the time I had lost my last 8 NHL goalies that were wearing my mask. They kind of jumped ship because there were certain companies that were paying them to get into their masks. So,
and it's still the reality these days.
This was the second mask I had ever made for the NHL.
Wow.
That is Mark Fitzpatrick's rookie mask.
And look at
that was the one and only year that he played with the Kings, and then he got traded to the Islanders for Kelly Rudy.
And these cat eye girls, this is the beginning stage of the cat eye girls. They're so light, they're so thin compared to what they are now.
Exactly. Well, that was a standard HM30 cage that was cut down.
Gee. Ah, okay.
Used to cut them down with the jigsaw.
And this was Tony's work? The grill?
Maybe. I'm not certain.
Look at this.
That was
foam pads.
Quite a while ago. The foam is all rotted. It's stinky.
Yeah. And then you got to get the straps to fit your own shells.
Yes.
Crazy history. Which year is this mask? Second mask of your NHL history. Which year is it?
This was one of 2 rookie masks I had made for Jamie's store.
Which year was this one? Give or take.
Late 80s.
Late 80s. And then Jamie's store here.
Jamie's store.
So this one looks more solid already.
Yes.
This one is currently available, huh? If somebody's interested.
It could be.
It could be. Let's talk, guys. Let's talk.
And here we have Darcy Wakaluk's mask.
Very nice Stars colors.
That was from the first year that the Stars were
Did you come up with
in
these
Dallas.
artwork?
Yes.
Wow.
Well, actually, this was the Darcy mask was a replica of a Harrison paint design.
Okay.
This was Sean Gauthier.
Sharks. And every shot, every time I see the sea, I get excited.
This was my own mask.
Did you paint that
Little,
one?
look at this.
That looks like that Carey
brains-
Price mask that he came up with.
Brains hanging out, eyeball hanging out.
Oh, wow. Look at that crazy ass mask.
So I still had the serif on the C, and I had just started to flare the ears back on the masks.
What made you modernize the sea?
That was just easier to cut out if it was completely round.
Practicality.
This was a mask that Tommy Soderstrom had worn in practice. His nickname, Skits. Tommy was one of those guys that just couldn't get used to wearing a cage mask, so he decided to go back to the combo.
Psycho.
Yep.
What's written inside the mask? There's a whole big text there. So you always saw your name, the date inside the mask.
Yes.
Look at this. Made with pride for my friend Tommy Soderstrom. That's cool. You always write a personalized text for the goalie? Or?
Most of the time, I just write the player's name, and once in a while, I'll do a little paragraph. This was Mike Fountain's rookie mask that I had made for him with Vancouver.
Look at this. A blank Cubberly. Very, very cool.
This here is Nick Fatucci's mask.
I gotta mention, you have a mix of round air vents and triangular shape.
Yes.
Why was that?
Just to create my own design,
Very cool, though.
rather than have all triangles. This was the first cage mask I had ever made.
So Tony needs to do individual grills to fit each of the shells that you have.
Well, the cages were all a standard size, and then what I would do is I would conform them. I would bend them and shape them to conform to each individual shell.
Eddie Belfort. What's going on here?
That was an amateur guy, a local guy that I had made the mask for.
And you work with different artists around the area?
Originally, I had done my own paint jobs,
Really?
but I'm a nurse by trade, and I was working in ICU doing 13-hour shifts
Jesus.
while I was still making NHL masks, and it just wasn't enough time in the day.
Yeah.
So over the years, I had 2 or 3 guys paint my masks. Now this is a mask I had made for Sean Burke. That year, he had started with the Hurricanes. I made his Hurricanes mask. Then he got traded to Vancouver. He wore my Vancouver mask. And then finally, at the end of the season, he got traded to the Flyers and already had another mask from another manufacturer waiting for him. And he decided to switch. But the funny thing with the paint design, originally this said, "We the people of the United States of America."
Mm-hmm.
And Berkey got the mask. He said, "What is this?" He says, "I can't have this. I'm Canadian." He says, "You got to change that."
Oh, Canada, our home and native land.
So I had my artist at the time change.
You made up something?
And put some scribble on there. But yeah, that was too funny.
And this one?
This is a Michel Lefebvre mask. This mask
was what I grew up with. The Lefebvre.
One that Les Kuntar wore.
No.
And Les really didn't like the Lefebvre mask. He really wanted mine, but the team had already paid for this.
You traded?
So we traded. We just swapped out.
This is a relic right here again, man. An original Lefebvre single bar grill. If you guys grew up watching the Brodeur and the Hua, you know what I'm talking about. Iconic, iconic shape. This looks like a Hua shape, but missing some air vents.
Mm-hmm.
I want this.
Can't have it.
Ah! He gives me the Richter, but he doesn't give me this one. That's Ed for you. Super cool.
This one I had done for Steve Shields. He wore it in practice, but couldn't get used to it, and I got it back.
You got a bunch of...
These are some other masks I had done. These were my early face masks.
This is some of yours too. Yeah.
Yes, that was an early prototype.
Very cool.
Of my cage mask. This one is actually Peter Sidorkowitz's game mask that he wore with the Devils that was painted over.
Wow.
And that's the cage that goes with it.
And these cage, we still see them every day. But with Ed, this was the innovation back in the days. Crazy, man.
Mm-hmm.
History right here. This is better than the Hall of Fame in Toronto. There's a real history here.
Yeah, each one has a story to go with it.
Stop this video right here, guys, but I'm going to spend the entire day just standing here in awe. I'm out of words. I'm just going to say, Ed, thank you so much, man, for allowing us to even be here today.
Absolutely my pleasure, Andy.
Cheers, Ed. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.